they're genuinely worried that we could be headed into a recession. I don't agree, but I can't blame anyone for being freaked out by that bond market. Then what should you own? How about you want domestically oriented companies, non-cyclical industries that we know are in good shape because they just reported great quarters? Look at Cramer fave AMN Healthcare, which is a managed service provider that helps hospitals with staffing and workforce solutions. They find doctors and nurses so that hospitals can focus on treating patients. And that's exactly the kind of business I want to own in a slowdown. While AMN's been a long-term winner, the stock did get a hit in February when management gave some extremely conservative guidance for 2019. Got to find out about that. Lately, the stock's been getting its groove back. Last week, AMN reported a fabulous quarter, 8-cent earnings beat off of a 69-cent basis, higher than expected revenue, bullish forecast. Stock exploded higher on the news as it should have, which is why it's barely been dinged during this latest market-wide meltdown. So could this thing have more upside? Let's take a closer look with an old friend of this show, Susan Salka. She's the president and CEO of AMN Healthcare Services. Get a better sense of how our company's doing and where it's headed. Ms. Salka, welcome back to Mad Money. Good to see you.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming in. Well, it's funny. You know, you gave that conservative guidance, and that did spook people. But the reality is your business is pretty much on fire.
Well, we've seen a tremendous increase in demand, in particular over the last couple of quarters. You know, and it's not surprising. We have really strong macro trends driving our business. You know, the aging population is in full swing, and that hits clinicians as well. And so we have a very tight labor market, and it's difficult for our clients to find the talent that they need. But that's where we come in. We can really use our expertise, our marketing technologies, and in this market, it's even tough for us, but we're able to find the great quality talent that they're looking for.
What are those technologies?
Well, we use a lot of marketing technologies over the web, of course, but then also we've gone digital and have mobile apps and capabilities that we can reach out into the daily lives of our clinicians and make it really easy for them to interface with us. Another example is a great acquisition we made right after I saw you in January. A wonderful cloud-based credentialing company that makes it very easy for physicians, in this case, to keep their credentials in one place and then very easily share it with organizations that they want to work for. So it's a real win-win for the physician, but then also certainly for healthcare organizations. Credentialing is a huge pain point and something that, quite honestly, needs to be innovated, and we're bringing that to the market.
Explain it to me. Is that trying to be sure you have the right person? What is it? Or fraud? What?
Well, it is making sure that the individual that you're hiring, whether it be on a contingent basis or permanent, has the right credentials.
Okay.
And so we do that in our own business. In fact, we're quite well known, and it's one of the things that sets AMN apart.
Okay.
But we know that our clients deal with this on a daily basis, and so we really want to bring, again, innovative solutions and things that are going to help them streamline even the everyday things they need to do to deliver great care.
So you basically eliminated a whole slew of things that they were doing that may not necessarily be as good as you are.
Well, we can certainly make sure that it's going to be faster, more streamlined, and more accurate. So, hopefully those technologies will be things that will help them do what they do best, and that is focus on patient care.
Okay, so there is a great debate going on in this country right now, and it's kind of this, I call it a false dichotomy. There are people who think that the economy is booming, and there are people who think that we're about to go into recession. When I listen to you, I think not necessarily booming, but there's strong demand for labor still. It's not like there's a big labor pool and everyone is saying, I don't need those people. It's the opposite.
You're absolutely right. We have strong demand across most all of our businesses right now. In Nurse and Allied, we mentioned on our earnings call recently, the demand is up over 20% year over year. In fact, it's the highest it's been in some of our businesses in many, many years. And then even in our other workforce solutions areas like interim leadership and physician perm placement, our technology businesses, we're seeing great demand. But what we're seeing more than anything is that our clients really want to work with a total workforce solution partner like AMN. And we've really made a pretty tremendous transformation over the last decade from moving from a transactional relationship to much more of a strategic relationship with our clients.
Yeah, I mean, I remember it was kind of like a help service. You're no longer a help service. But you were also an honest broker. I've known you for a long time, and I know how important corporate governance is for you. So I'm going to ask you something that's not necessarily in your bailiwick, but it involves healthcare. A very fine company, GE, is under attack because of some misjudgments that the company made, among other things, for long-term care projections. Now, I know that you don't do long-term care. It's a terrible business for anybody. It's terrible business other than the patient. But it's hard to estimate, right? I mean, it's hard to estimate how long a live-in person will stay with you. It's hard to estimate the actuarial tables. You got the baby boomers that took this. So, I mean, isn't it a little more gray than black and white that companies trying to identify what the exposure is to long-term care?
Well, I don't know that I can comment on their specific situation.
They're not there. It's just in general. It's a tough thing.
Absolutely. Well, you know, that's where I think you have to have the right partners, and internally you have to really have the right culture, and you have to make sure that whatever you're estimating and whatever you're sharing, you do it in a transparent way. And it's something that we take very seriously at AMN. I can tell you, all the way from the board through all of our 3,500 corporate employees and even our almost 20,000 clinicians working out in the field, we want to know that we're doing the right thing each and every day. So we have a very open and transparent culture in that way.
Okay, last thing is, what is the total addressable market now? I mean, because you've, to me, baby boomers, retirement demographics that we were talking about, this market's much larger than we realize, and you've got a lot of runway.
We do, and we continue to expand into new markets, which expand our addressable market. So if you think of just healthcare staffing, it's almost a $20 billion market, but we've moved into many other areas, such as some of these technology solutions I just mentioned. We also recently made a great acquisition in the clinical school staffing space. The advanced medical team joined us in June, and I am so excited because it really helps us address a very critical part of the market, helping our children at a time when they need us most. And so that business is doing some really interesting things to innovate in the school space, both in terms of delivering behavioral health services, physical therapy, but also innovating through telehealth to be sure that we can get to those children in the most remote places. So I'd say our addressable market has expanded, actually doubled. Definitely over the last
Even since
decade.
the time that I've known you. And again, I want to emphasize in terms of corporate governance, she is amazing and a great teacher of it. And I know we care about that these days as much as we care about the earnings. That's Susan Salka, President and CEO of AMN Healthcare Services. This is a growth industry. It has nothing to do with anything happening in Washington or in China. It just has to do with an industry that is growing like mad, and they're capitalizing on it. Mad Money's back after the break. Booyah! Jim Cramer here from Mad Money. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube. Click here to subscribe and get the jump on my exclusives with CEOs, plus market news, investing advice, and a whole lot more.